you step onto your porch, still half asleep, with a bag of seed in your hand. Everything's quiet. It feels like absolutely nothing is happening. But 12 feet up, on a bare branch, a tiny shape shifts. Across the yard, another one tilts its head, looking right at you. Before your foot even leaves that top step, something up in those trees has already clocked you. They know your exact stride, the angle of your arm, even the weight of the bag you're holding. You think you're alone out here, but you're not. Honestly, you just walked right into a live broadcast and you are the headline. See, here's what's actually happening. That soft chirping you hear every single morning and just tune out, it isn't background noise, it's an announcement. Scientists who study bird calls have found that certain patterns shift the exact second a door creaks open or a human silhouette appears. They have a specific tone reserved almost exclusively for food source detected, and within seconds, that sound just ripples outward. Bird to bird, yard to yard. So flip the perspective for a second. You probably always assumed you were just feeding the birds, right? But from their side of things, you're not a person. You're an event. A scheduled, tracked, broadcasted event. And the moment your back door opens, the whole street already knows. But here's the thing nobody really talks about. That broadcast, it's not just random background noise, it actually coordinates. Researchers who look into songbird vocalizations found these subtle shifts in frequency that basically work like a location tag. You get different pitches for near the fence, by the tree, or at the door. So a bird just a few yards away doesn't even need to look at you. It just hears that one specific note, and honestly, it already knows exactly where the seed is going to hit the ground. Just think about that for a second. Every single day, completely without realizing it, you're feeding data into a system that is literally predicting your next move. Because birds aren't just watching you when you walk outside, they're studying the whole pattern behind it. Like, say you always fill the feeder around 8 in the morning right after your coffee. Within a few days, those birds start showing up at 7,055, not 87, and that's not a coincidence. Behavioral studies on wild songbirds show they can lock their feeding schedules right onto a repeated human cue. They keep showing up earlier and earlier until they're basically just sitting there waiting on you, and it goes way deeper than just timing. They notice your rhythm, like the specific blue jacket you only wear on trash day, or the way you take slower steps on a Sunday morning. Some researchers think local birds even connect certain routines like your car pulling out of the driveway to a countdown for the premium seed mix that only comes out on weekends. To you, it's just a regular Tuesday. But to them, it's a data point in a running forecast of exactly when the good stuff arrives. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because it's not just your schedule they're tracking, it's you, specifically you. To the birds in your yard, you aren't just some generic human shape. You actually have a profile. Studies on corvids, crows, jays, magpies, have shown they can recognize individual human faces for years, and that's just from a single encounter. They'll react completely differently to someone who threatened them versus someone who fed them. But here's the crazy part. That recognition doesn't stay private. Scientists have caught crows screaming at a specific person, and then other crows, ones that have never even seen that person before, will join right in. They basically learned who the threat was secondhand. Flip that around, and it means the exact same thing happens in reverse. If you've been generous, consistent, and calm around your feeder, that reputation doesn't just stay with the birds who know you, it spreads. A bird visiting from 2 streets over might already have a rough profile of you before it ever even lands on your fence. Your walk, your pace, whether you hang around or rush back inside, it's all cataloged and passed along, almost like a whispered reference check. But here's the thing, nobody really tells you. They're not just looking at your face, they're reading your energy. Long before you even get close to the feeder, those birds are scanning your micro movements. Like, how fast are you walking? Are your steps steady? Or are they kind of erratic? Are your shoulders tense? See, prey instinct runs incredibly deep, and songbirds are just wired to pick up on stress signals from anything moving through their space, human or otherwise. A slow, predictable walk, that means safety to them. But a sudden stop, a raised arm, a quick turn, even if you mean absolutely nothing by it, it instantly registers as a warning. That's why some mornings they completely scatter the second you step outside, and other mornings they barely even flinch. Honestly, it was never really about the seed. It was about what your body was communicating before you even realized you were saying anything at all. Now, just think about what that actually means. Every single time you've wondered why the birds seemed a little nervous today, they weren't reacting to the yard. They were reacting to you. In real time, they were reading signals you didn't even know you were sending. But the intelligence goes way deeper than just a single interaction. And this is the part people miss, on a scale most of us never even consider. This information doesn't just die with one bird's memory. It gets encoded. It gets passed on. Ornithologists studying regional bird populations have actually found that certain warning calls and safety signals develop these local dialects. We're talking about patterns specific to one neighborhood, sometimes even one specific street, that get taught from adult birds straight to their offspring. That means the birds visiting your yard today, they might be operating on knowledge passed down from birds that visited your yard years before you even moved in. It's like a running, inherited record of which houses are safe, which yards have hidden threats, and which humans going back generations could actually be trusted. So your yard isn't the blank slate every spring. It's more like a page in a book that's been open for years, written in a language you've just never heard. And once you understand that, the whole map changes. Because here's what's actually happening on a grand scale. Your yard isn't some isolated stop. It's this one glowing point on an invisible aerial network stretching across your entire neighborhood. When birds fly between yards, they're basically doing a live comparison. They're constantly checking which yard has the best cover from predators, where they won't have to fight other birds for food, and who has a reliable setup versus who's just hit or miss. Some studies on urban birds actually show that they keep mental maps of dozens of different feeding spots. They rank them by safety and consistency, and the second a better option pops up, they shift their primary stop. So, when they vanish for a week and then just reappear like nothing happened, it's not that they forgot you. It's just that, somewhere on their map, your yard temporarily dropped in the rankings. And then, for reasons only they really know, it climbed right back up. But here's the thing that changes how you'll look at that feeder forever. You were never just feeding birds. You were entering an agreement completely unspoken, but totally real with, a network that is far older and way more attentive than you think. Honestly, it's a network that remembers your face, tracks your daily habits, reads your mood, and passes your reputation down to generations of birds you'll never even meet. Every single scoop of seed you drop is just a small moment inside this ancient, ongoing dialogue between two completely different species. One that talks in words, and one that talks in wing beats, tones, and memory. So the next time you step out onto your porch, just pause for a second. You're not just filling a feeder. You're being observed, evaluated, and remembered. And it's all happening by a society that's been watching your house since long before you ever noticed they were watching back. It makes you wonder, do you think the birds in your yard already know your face better than your own neighbors do?